But we're going to start by watching Debating Trump Fans in Person from an actual person in the chat. And I'm going to watch it as well, but I have to go change my t-shirt real quick. Hasanabi head in Des Moines, Iowa, debating Donald Trump.
So Donald Trump scheduled a rally in Des Moines, Iowa.
Right off the bat, you sound like Michael Knowles. Like, you have the same voice as Michael Knowles. How is that even possible? You're like 14. But anyway.
What percent of Americans do you think are transgender?
I would say before it was cool to be transgender, or before it was probably like, I would say 1.5, and now it's probably like 20%.
20%? Well, it's still 0.5%.
Oh, okay. I was pretty close on 1.5.
Pretty, yeah, sort of. Let me ask you this. If an adult goes to the doctor with gender dysphoria and they try to decide on a treatment, do you think the government should be able to step in and stop that?
Oh, no, not if they're paying for it. As long as, they have their own insurance that they're paying for. I don't think a state, health insurance should have to pay for your gender reassignment.
So you're okay with people getting gender-affirming care, though?
Oh, yeah, as long as I'm not paying for it.
There's this whole new wave of eradicate transgenderism, which I think is too far in the opposite direction.
Yeah. I'd have nothing against, gay people or whatever you claim you are. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to live just the same every day.
This country is more divided now than it was when Martin Luther King marched when I was a kid. Blame? Let's talk blame.
Yeah, let's talk blame. What's up?
Have you ever heard any Democrat say that it was their responsibility, or they did this,
sure,
or they did? Have you looked at the records, the actual information that we found about Biden and his crime family? They would eliminate so many of the drugs, I believe, that children are able to get a hold of nowadays. There would be far fewer mental issues.
What kind of drugs?
Pot, for one.
You disagree with smoking?
You best your sweet Bippy. I grew up with kids that when it was just coming in, and I saw them make complete idiots of themselves. No, thank you. You go ahead and do it. That's your choice, not mine. Never broken a law in my life except get a couple of, well, no, I've never actually got a speeding ticket. I've got some warnings.
We can go smoke some pot in my car if you want to break a law.
Not on your life.
Damn,
Okay,
bro,
sorry.
what the is this? Are you trying to rizz up this Trump supporter? What the hell is happening? Oh my God, bro. What is happening, dude?
I think that transgender has just been publicized, just like other issues that they try to distract us from when it's more of a mental health issue.
Well, if it's a mental health issue, then wouldn't it follow that treatment would improve these people's quality of life?
Yeah.
So you're for gender-affirming care?
No.
There's tons of studies that people who receive gender-affirming care have a way better quality of life than people who don't.
Are you just seeing it from the one side, or are you seeing both sides of it?
Well, tell me your side.
No, I'm just saying, have you seen the research on just the one side, or are you seeing it from both?
Where'd you get the YSL Lakers shirt? It is a limited edition market, also known as Chinatown Market shirt that they only sold at Complex Con, which they gave me because, the rich get richer. You already know what it is, baby.
The opposite of gender-affirming care, I guess, would be conversion therapy. And there's 0 studies showing that conversion therapy works. Actually, that increases the suicide rate of trans people.
I don't know the statistics on that. I'm just going by, my own thoughts of,
What makes you think Trump will be able to beat Biden in 2024 when he already lost to him in 2020?
Biden is just a puppet anyway. It's not the real guy.
Who's controlling him?
The white hats.
The white hats?
The white hats.
Can you define who those people are?
That would be our military, our generals, and our current and sitting president of Trump. He's our commander-in-chief still.
You think Trump is currently making all the decisions in the country?
It's us that there are casually people you can find at any given Trump rally that unironically hold this position. It truly is wild that this is the reality here. I don't know what to say about it other than holy shit, dude. It's not that wild to me. Well, it's wild to me.
Yes.
So would you blame the current inflation on Trump?
Yes, because this is where we would have been. I'm not blaming him, but in order for everybody to actually start waking up and seeing what was going to come down the pipeline if Hillary would have gotten in and they would have been able to do their New World Order.
By the way, that's a direct line out of my book. Okay, Hasanabi head. Good utilization of that line right there. So the idea that if Trump is currently the president, then does that mean if Trump is currently the president, does that actually mean that the inflation is his fault, his responsibility? Except I'll be real, I had never tested that out in the real marketplace. And it does feel like this person was psychotically stupid that she effectively countered it almost. You know what I mean? Like she didn't even skip a beat. Well, yeah, man, you were the first and only person to think about it. I'm not the first and only person to think about it, but.
This is what we were going to get.
And the border crisis, that's also on Trump?
Have you been to the border?
No, have you?
No. So how do we actually know if the wall was actually done, how are they getting in? Is it really a crisis, or is it just crisis actors?
I don't think there's a crisis at the border, honestly.
I don't think so either.
You think people are at the border?
Maybe he's
acting
not,
like
but I like his videos regardless.
Correct.
This is a good video.
What's
It's
the
not
purpose
bad.
of this?
Maybe it's a little too contentious though. That's the only note I will give you is that I don't know if he's in here still, but the only note I would give you is that it's a little too like aggro. You come across a little too like debate lordy, and these guys are content in and of itself. Like you're literally letting them own themselves anyway. It's like, you know, give them the rope to hang themselves with. Principle works pretty well. Catching them in little like traps, like the one you just like locked her into, is great. You can also like lean into it a little bit further. One thing you could do is in a very nice way, you could lean into it by basically saying something along the lines of like, so do you think it's good that, you know, you don't think it's good that millions of Americans are suffering as a consequence of inflation, though, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is that worth it for Donald Trump to be? I see you. I see that you're still here. Chat saying he needs a haircut. I mean, you look good. Your hair looks fine. I would maybe like trim it a little bit, trim the bangs a little bit, but
To wake more people up.
To what?
To seeing
good video
we would be
overall.
going socialists in a communist country, and that's not what America's about.
Leave the children alone. Stay the hell out of the schools. Keep your drag queen shit out of the schools. Uncomfortable when you were 13 with your body when you'd wake up with a Woody.
Chatter, how bad do they smell? This is a very serious question, especially this guy. He looks like he smelled putrid. I mean, this is a unique opportunity where, like, you know, we're watching a video. He said like SIGs and transphobia.
You wouldn't know what the hell to do with it, you know?
If there's a 15-year-old who is having these confusing feelings, I think they should be able to talk about it without worrying that the government steps in.
They can talk about it, they can dress how they like, they can act how they like, but until any surgeries or anything's done, it should be 18 years old. We need to get the Democrats and all the deep state out. We need to take back the country for the people.
Yeah.
Peacefully, no violence.
No violence. So you disagree with what happened on January 6th?
It was not an insurrection, we were set up.
By who?
Democrats in a deep state, and people was there, FBI was...
You don't think there's a part of individual responsibility to do with it, though? So, like, if you make the decision to walk into the Capitol, break glass, and to riot, don't you think it might be justified to be charged with something?
Yes, if you break the law, of course, there's consequences to breaking the law. Now, you get a group of people, I don't care who it is, it could be Christians, whatever. You get someone or a couple people in there that are instigators, they're gonna get the whole crowd to go.
Yeah.
It takes one flame to get the can of gas to burn.
Yeah.
Now, there was people there, yes, that should not have done what they did. The destruction should not have happened. If you get caught on it, prosecute you.
Because it was stolen.
You think so?
I do.
How come every time they brought it to the courts, all the evidence was rejected immediately?
Because the courts are rigged.
A lot of those judges were appointed by Trump, though.
They still have a lot of undercurrent things that are going on that should not be going on.
So you think Trump appointed over 60 judges that were part of the swamp?
Maybe.
Doesn't that reflect poorly on Trump's judgment?
No.
Why not?
Because look at all these people that were wearing masks.
Yeah.
Was they fooled too?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, I think that
You think so?
they were.
This country is more divided now than it was when Martin Luther King marched when I was a kid. The Civil
Martin Luther the King. Yeah, I see why you entertained a lot with her.
War was something that
I like that there is a good mixture of like freaks and then also like the normie, you know, Xanax moms out there. Like this is a country club wine mom. You know what I mean?
no one could do anything about because the whites, quote unquote, whites from the South are not the only ones that had slaves. Slaves are all over the world. Slaves still exist today.
Do you think there's a direct effect from slavery to how Black Americans are able to live today?
No, I don't. They have a chance to learn. They live in the best country in the world. If they open their eyes and listen.
Learn.
Instead of just focusing on their little area.
Bro, this is why I always say, like, this person is like a normal human. You know what I mean? Her opinions are so gross, but like, this is what you need to understand. Like, the average American citizen's mentality towards like leaning towards white supremacist ideals, like black people need to, individually bootstrap themselves out of like systemic racism, is like the average American's attitude. And it is basically like 3 steps removed from full tilt, Klan robe wearing fascism. Okay. It's wild to consider because it's such the normative position, but it also simultaneously is someone that you could possibly like maybe try to convince, you know what I mean? But like literally, she is not all that far removed from like literally being a cross-burning Klansman, you know what I mean? The mentality is identical. It's crazy. And yet, some of your parents have these kinds of opinions, you know what I mean? It's crazy to me. She's in the fringes, you can change your mind. I'm just saying that it is wild that like this person probably is like a kind individual, a normal individual that is like, doesn't think that she's racist or anything like that, operates in society. And like her ideas are quite literally not that far removed from the cross-burning Klansmen with respect to like why black people are a way that they are. I'm saying this as a way to get you to understand how pervasive white supremacy is in the United States of America.
And people that they hang out with, they would learn a lot.
But from what you said, it sounds like you were born before the civil rights movement.
Oh yeah.
So black people couldn't buy houses in your lifetime when you were maybe a baby.
I'm well aware of that.
You were 5. So you don't think there's any downstream effect?
I felt oppressed at that time.
Yeah.
But that's what Martin was trying to correct. Right now,
Bro, she said Martin like they're on a first name basis, dude. Like, what? Yeah. Hey, Martin, he wanted to correct it. We went on a couple dates.
I see so many people living off the government handout.
I'm pretty sure welfare use per capita is higher in red states than blue states.
Yes, but there's so many people living off of the government handouts. And that is not that much farther away from slavery. They were a slave, they were given housing.
What? Yo, I've never heard that before. That's wild. I like this. Okay, she's cooking. Okay, let mama cook. Oh my God, where mama at? Woo, shit. She said welfare is like slavery because the government's giving you cash handouts. No, she's not saying, guys, she's not saying wage slavery is like the same as slavery. No, you're putting words into her mouth. She's trying to say that the government offering social safety nets to people is keeping them enslaved. Okay? That's what she's saying. She's actually out of her mind. She's making it seem like chattel slavery is the same as like the government offering some minor social safety nets. I love that.
Food, clothing, medical care. The people asked them to work. Yes, there were landowners that were violent and mean to some of them, but there were others that were humanistic.
Yeah.
Yo, I love that. Oh, come on. You got to explore that. Humanistic slave ownership? How does that work? Explain that to me. What is a humanistic slave ownership situation? How do you own a human in a humanistic way? That's crazy. I have heard that one before. I've heard that. You go deep south, if you're white enough, like I am, you'll have people tell you like, well, you don't beat your tractor when you buy it, like that kind of shit. Straight up. Yeah, I've heard that. I've literally heard that before as an argument to defend the institution and the practice of chattel slavery and to, I guess, counter the narrative, the lies that slavery is bad or was bad.
I think there should be no transgenders. I'm pretty sure there's only 2 different genders that are born, and that gives 2 different types of sex.
But even with there being two genders, that can still fit under the transgender worldview because you're just switching from generally masculine features to feminine features.
A woman has female reproductive organs and a male has male reproductive organs, and that's about it.
Do you look at people's genitals when you're figuring out whether to call them sir or ma'am? Or do you generally look at a vague set of social characteristics?
You can, just by walking around, you can tell by the way their voice is. You can just
Bring printouts next time of Buck Angel, and some like and you know, a bunch of, actually there's plenty of trans mask trans men that are super attractive, trans women that are super attractive. Just use that, like, traditionally, that fit in the Western traditional aesthetics. That doesn't mean anything. Passing is not the end all be all. Do not get up my ass here. Hunter Schafer is another great one. It's always a great way to eviscerate the talking points so that we can always tell
just what's more about your morals, what's morally right in this world.
So you can look at people and know if they're transgender.
Yeah, intersperse it with cis people to throw them off. Exactly.
Based off their morals?
A person knows if they're men or women, and that they know their morals and know if it's right. And
I totally agree.
To be honest is a big thing. We're all about honesty in this country. So if they know they're a woman, generally you'll know if they're a woman just by the way they walk, the way they're.
This sounds pro-trans to me, though. So you're saying if somebody knows they're a woman and they walk around with features that are looking like a woman, then they can be considered a woman?
No. A woman, we already went over what a woman and a male is, and I think we agreed on that.
Great video. That was actually pretty good. Can you do the same policy vid with this? Like, what are you going to do with that chatter? If a shit 1 week ban, you cleanse the chat of an idiot and you get free content, please? Dude, you're like suffering. Like, you desperately want me to watch this video. I don't want to watch it. That's the difference. This is short, sweet, 10 minutes, snackable. And it's the type of content that I watch all the time. This is an hour and 21 minutes long. Do you understand the difference? About like something that is actually interesting, to me especially, but something that unfortunately is not like all too interesting to the broader majority of chat.